know. Good evening, welcome to Otley in Yorkshire. Here we are with the stream for this evening. Otley racing. I'm going to take you right now down to the slide. Got all ready to go. Be all ready when the rules appear. For first of our youth races this evening, and before we're going to be racing for you, we're going to be streaming the youth races around the men. In fact, I'll give you a quick look at our all things design use 1 minute late and then a classic strategy with that one. So we're getting our to Otley women's so round women's 2020. In fact, time with 6 Otley around this year. Property men's Grand Prix round competition for this year. And the presentation of the two big races around about 1 minute 10 o'clock. So that's a thing during the next few hours. If you on the last few just made, make sure it's ready and we have a look at that. Just to go. We can so the fact that the tensions a week we're at now here on 9, so we can show you our interest in lap of the circuit with Beth Crumpton. That will give you an idea of what the rise is. Stop over here from Beth. Cool.
I'm Beth Crumpton, and today we are in Otley at the town centre.
Because of, well, what we all know happened last year, this is only the 35th actual racing edition. And the rider's getting the countdown here, ready to get underway. So we're off and running. Our first race at Otley 2021 is underway. It is the MAS Design Super Prestige race for the under 16 boys. These are youth riders. Leading into that first corner, as you saw from Beth a few moments ago, the climb begins. It's a swift left and then a right, and then the road begins to rear up 700 metres this section up Burris Lane. Already an early advantage being gained here by a rider with a very luminous jersey and forks on his bike, opening a little gap here. We've got cameras located around the circuit for you to show you particularly the riders on the climb here. We're on board with our motorcycle camera from our friends at Media Motos. And as we get underway with our coverage here this evening, as you heard from Beth a few moments ago, our live stream has been funded in part by our Just Giving page, and I want to give a big shout out to everyone who has contributed via the Just Giving page. Thank you indeed for your support. It's made it possible to bring this live coverage to you as the girls get underway as well. 1 minute behind the boys. Race distance is the same for the girls, so they in theory should never catch the boys, but strange things do happen sometimes here in Otley. This is the Milner Richards Super Prestige race for the under 16 girls. So both races, as far as I'm aware, are covering 10 laps of the circuit, but we're riding with our race leader. The pictures you're seeing are the same pictures I'm seeing as well, so I've got no further means of identification, unfortunately, than that, but hopefully we'll be able to pick up a race number at some point when he passes one of our static cameras. Of course, the youth riders have already been in action in the National Series already this year. In fact, Matthew Brennan, who's riding here this evening from the Stockton Wheelers Cycling Club, familiar territory for the Velo 29 team here, of course, who are based up in Stockton-upon-Tees, while Matthew Brennan is the leader of the National Series. 122 points he's got. Jed Smithson, also riding for Works Factory Racing, is on second on 84 points. And Thomas Pattinson from the Hales Owen A and CC is in third place in the national standings for the Youth A boys, and he is on a total of 78 points at the moment. So out of the saddle here, rocking and rolling the bike here, trying to get the maximum speed, but you can see the group behind, who are actually all seated and just concentrating on the climb, are actually making good progress to the catch here. So as we approach this section here on Birdcage Walk, where it gets quite narrow, tree lined as well, the surface here is quite undulating. Quality of the road surface is pretty good around the course. This is probably the worst sector in terms of the quality of roads. One or two little potholes around, so the riders will need to be watchful of that. If our pictures do freeze momentarily, we do apologise. We'll try and get it back for you as quickly as we can. We're reliant upon the mobile signals around the course to bring you our pictures. Here come the riders across the A606 bridge, or even the A660. Whichever it is, it's the main road. And they're speeding down towards the completion of the first lap for the boys. Here we come around the corner. You see the Chevin Cycles in the background. We're a very famous location here in Otley. Chevin Cycles, one of the major cycle retailers across Yorkshire. And through the line we go. End of lap 1. Speeding through. The group still pretty much all together. The rider who did gain that advantage has been reeled back in by that chase as they came back down Gay Lane after exiting the left turn at the end of Birdcage Walk. New name on the front now, black and blue sleeves on his jersey. Pleasant evening indeed here in Otley. The weather's been a little changeable during the day. It's fortunately remained dry and is forecast to do so for the rest of the evening, but a little bit of cloud cover. It's about 18-19 degrees outside, so pleasant enough evening for bike racing. And as you can see, the crowds here, even though because of the still continuing COVID restrictions, the crowds have had to be tried to be kept to a minimum here in Otley, hence part of the reason for bringing us the live stream for you. And looking amongst this group here, towards the back as well, two riders just losing the wheel momentarily. Just seeing a view there of Joel Hurt from the Derwent side CC, race number 31. So once again, they've come to the top of the climb. You'll recognise this point. They go a very, very short section over the motorway bridge, and then they drop back down onto Birdcage Walk. Meanwhile, here are the girls coming to the end of their opening lap. Through the line we go, and quickly out of the view of the crowd here in the finishing straight. It's a shame that the COVID restrictions are still in operation, because we normally get a huge crowd and an incredible atmosphere on the streets of Otley every year that we bring you the bike races. I mentioned unfortunately no racing in 2020, but it's great we have been able to bring the races back, albeit in a slightly modified form. But hopefully by means of our live stream you're able to enjoy the action from wherever in the world you happen to be. Our live stream brought to you by Velo 29 Events and by Dream Bike Giveaway. If you've gone to our live stream by means of the Dream Bike Giveaway website, you'll know that Dream Bike Giveaway do give away some great prizes for very reasonably priced raffle tickets. I'll tell you more about those as we go through the evening. We've got some great new raffle prizes on offer as well. But nice to see the sunshine here as the riders come through. It's a Story Racing jersey on the front there. That I think is Cat Ferguson of Story Racing. Story Racing team put together by Dame Sarah Story. Recently back from the Paracycling World Championships in Portugal, where she took another whole host of medals. Our most successful Paralympian, Dame Sarah Story, will be heading to Tokyo not too many weeks' time now for the Paralympics. But looking back down on the finishing straight, here come the boys once again. Still a big group here, one or two riders looking under the elbow and around the corner there, just to see who's immediately on the wheel. See the bike handling skills going into that corner. There's a frantic pace at the moment. Sadly, I don't have a readout currently of the riders as they pass through the lap marker, so identification is proving a little difficult, for which I apologise, but we'll do the best we can for you. Again, a little gap here opening It's a good springboard for an attacking move. As you heard Beth mention in her little introduction earlier about the course, the climb away as they go up Burris Lane is always a popular springboard for attacking moves. 700 metres in length is Burris Lane for the climb. See our motorbike that's bringing you some of our pictures. Just going through the static camera position here towards the top of the climb. And again, this small advantage. Second time we've seen a breakaway move. I think the gap is bigger than we saw last time. The first rider who went immediately away from the start line. But this time, a concerted chase behind as well. Quickly over the top of the climb. Very briefly into that smoother section of road before we drop into Birdcage Walk. And it's good the sun is shining this evening. As you can see the dappled shadows coming through the trees here. As we look back at the finish line, see a couple of riders going through. Just off the pace. But this is the head of the boys' race. If you are just tuning in, you've not missed much. We've been on for a few minutes now. This is our live stream from the Otley cycle races here in Otley in Yorkshire, and you're watching at the moment the action of the head of the race in the MAS Design Super Prestige race for the under 16 boys. They are racing for around about 30 minutes, which should see them cover around about 21 kilometres or 10 laps of the circuit. Once again, that attack is relatively short-lived. Birdcage Walk, it's longest continuous section of the course. It's just short of a kilometre along Birdcage Walk. The circuit in total is 2.25 kilometres, so one of the longest criterium racing circuits we have in the UK. And across the line come the girls at the end of the next lap. If you can catch sight of any numbers in that leading group, then good luck to you. But as we once again go back on board with our moto cam, and the boys coming out of Birdcage Walk. It's a fast descent back down Gay Lane to the intersection with Leeds Road, and then they will see Chevin Cycles away to their right, and they'll swing round to the left into the finishing straight. It's just on 190 metres from that corner to the finish line. You see the peloton beginning to stretch out a little bit here. Our leading rider, just a couple of bike lengths advantage. In fact, those two riders just trying to ease clear of the rest of the peloton, but it's one long line of riders effectively coming around that corner. And in action with the girls as well, there towards the top of the climb, as the boys begin the ascent once more. So as I mentioned earlier, in theory, with that 1 minute difference, with the boys starting a minute before the girls, should avoid too much lapping, but it does often happen here that if the boys have a breakaway move, boys dropped off the back, get caught by the leading girls, or the leading boy can sometimes latch on to some of the girls trailing off the back of the girls group. It gets a little bit confusing for the judges sometimes. Again, we're seeing an attacking move, and again it is the springboard of the climb that has been the launch pad for this one. Winding the way up past the Crouch in Mon here, out to the top of Burris Lane, just over the top of the A660, and then swinging left into Birdcage Walk, back down onto the finishing straight. So, more riders are coming through. There's a Clifton CC jersey on the front of the group there, the black and red colours. So already race is well split around the circuit. Back up to the front, and once again that advantage we saw beginning to develop. Well, it looks like club riders have had a problem there at the left hand side of the road. If there's been a coming together or a mechanical problem, but desperately trying to get themselves mobile once more. In the bad old days of circuit racing, you used to be able to take a lap out, albeit not necessarily a circuit of this size, but no laps out in circuit racing anymore. So if you have a problem, you've got to fix it and try and chase your way back. There's a pits area at the end of the finishing straight, but you cannot enjoy the luxury of taking a lap out and then chasing back into the action with no laps lost. If you lose a lap, then you lose a lap. It's made racing a little bit more edge of the seat. It certainly keeps the mechanics in the pits on their toes as well. Lap board being held out here. Unfortunately, we can only see the back of it with our camera, so We at the moment don't quite know where we are in terms of number of laps, but we're looking at our leading rider here in the boys' race. As he speeds out of Birdcage Walk and onto the descent. You can see that very neat descending style. Paul Mills Cycles is the jersey here. Well, Thomas Hepton of Paul Mills Cycles is amongst the field, so that might well be Thomas. Here he is into the finishing straight. You can see the advantage at a good 40 or 50 metres as he goes into the corner. So the chase is on behind, but these riders need to be very watchful indeed, because the Paul Mills Bradford Olympic RC rider, if that is Thomas Hepton, out of the saddle, is beginning to build an advantage that is becoming more and more threatening to that chasing group behind. See, he's a strong climber. He launched his attack on the climb last time. Also fearless descender as well, as he sped down Gay Lane and swung back onto the finishing straight. Just sight of the peloton as the road undulates as he goes past one of the two supermarkets located on our circuit here in Otley. This one at the top of the hill. Some applause for the riders, from the spectators dotted around the course. But once again, it looks as though the main field have been working hard here, beginning to lessen the advantage of our lone leader. Perusal of my start list indicates that the only Paul Mills Bradford Olympic rider we've got in the race, to my knowledge, is Thomas Hepton. So I'm going to put my money on that having been Thomas Hepton at the front. But now he's been swept away, been caught. And two more riders now beginning to take over position at the head of the race. We had hoped to see the feed from our timing personnel of the passage of each lap, which would have given us more of an indication of riders' names and the advantages they hold. Unfortunately, that information is not available to us at the moment. So I'll just repeat again, what you're seeing on your live stream is exactly what I'm seeing on our monitors here. So it's not difficult to work out who's who. We'll do our best. Anyway, it's great to have pictures nonetheless here from bike racing. It's great to get bike racing back on the road as well. And if you've been following the action over the last few weeks, as I mentioned, the Youth Circuit Series already in full swing with Matthew Brennan, who rides in the field this evening. If you manage to spot the number of Matthew Brennan, he's number 1. No, that's his transfer. He's number 8. Is Matthew Brennan, and he's riding for the PHMAS Paul Mills Cycles team. Oh well, so maybe that was him. Got 2 PHMAS jerseys and 2 Paul Mills jerseys, so slightly different names to the teams. Oh well. It was certainly a Paul Mills jersey on the front, so there's 2 potentially. It could have been Matthew Brennan, who was the National Series leader. Looks like the rider who has been on the front is now back in second spot. Again, one long line of riders as they come back onto Gay Lane. 400 metres of descent before the swing left back onto the start-finish straight on Bondgate, which is lined with a smattering of people. Well, more than a smattering, it's actually a big crowd actually in the finishing straight, but maintaining the social distancing requirements, we hope. Here is the bunch coming towards the line. Looks like 1 or 2 back markers in danger of being caught here as the riders come through. So an indication of status of the race will be when we see the bell being rung, if we are fortunate enough to see that. So here we go once again onto the climb. Just the church there in the background. If you're new to Otley cycle racing, maybe the opportunity to follow the racing. It's gone hand in hand with us bringing you the Green Bike giveaway live stream here. Otley's located in the Valley of the River Wharfe in West Yorkshire, and it's historically part of the West Riding of Yorkshire. The church you saw in the background is one of the famous spots within the town of Otley, which features in numerous television programmes. If you're a follower of Emmerdale, Hotton in Emmerdale is actually Otley in Yorkshire. So there you go. Fascinating fact for you. If you're more of a fan of ITV's Heartbeat, then the old police station here is actually Otley Courthouse. So the old police station in Heartbeat is the Otley Courthouse. So it's appeared in numerous TV and films over the years as Otley, as the riders once again complete another lap and swing around through the finishing straight and begin the climb once more. That is a view of the finishing straight, and the gantry across the road is an indication of where the race will be completed. So the various attacks we have seen, all of which without exception so far have been launched on the climb of Burris Lane, and all again almost without exception have been caught back on the descent of Gay Lane before they swing back onto the finishing straight on Bondgate. So that's the pattern of the race that we have at the moment. Our camera's focusing on the action of the boys race at the moment. Of course we've got the girls race going on as well, both races covering the same distance. The girls started a minute or so behind the boys, so approximately a quarter of a lap I guess was the differential when they left the start line. Looks like an attack here on the left-hand side of the road. Out of the saddle, tracking one or two more riders with him. That's the danger, though, when you attack from the midst of the bunch, as the rider in the picture is doing at the moment. You stand a very real possibility of dragging riders clear with you. So, once again, the riders stretching out into a long line here. There you go across the A660. Out the end of Birdcage Walk for the riders here at the head of the race. So coming around to complete another lap. Once again, a little advantage opened on the descent. See about 3 or 4 riders trailing off the back as well. Back onto the finishing straight we come. And these riders in danger of being lapped by our leading group who are coming through the line here. So taking that advantage gained on the descent onto the climb once more. So certainly 2 riders have been lapped by the main field here. It's a cracking pace. It'll be interesting to see what the average speed is at the end of this race. There's been no pause whatsoever in the action since the moment they crossed the start line. And this is yet again a solo attacking move. As I mentioned, the riders certainly to keep your eye on will be Matthew Brennan of Stockton Wheelers, but riding now in the colours of PHMAS Paul Milne Cycles. So I guess he must have started the season riding for Stockton Wheelers. That's a club assigned to him on the British Cycling Series standings at the moment, but our start list indicating he's now riding for PHMAS Paul Milne Cycles. Obviously the PHMAS squad spotted some talent and made sure that Matthew Brennan is a member of their team for the 2021 season, but his attack once again has swiftly been brought back by the rest of the main field. Pace settles once more. The riders now well versed in the technique of tackling this climb. So the rider about to be lapped here on the left hand side. Cameras out in force from our press photographers around the course, grabbing the action. It always gets some very iconic photos of the racing here in Otley. We really have missed it over the last 12 months. Banner being unfurled there on the finish line. Back amongst the action in the girls' race here as well. There's Imogen Wolfe of Shibden Cycling Club just going through the picture there. I think Imogen was a rider, if you were following our live stream a couple of weeks ago of the track meeting, the Youth Omnium track meeting at Middlesbrough track. I'm sure Imogen Wolfe was riding on that occasion. She's riding for the Shibden Cycling Club. And if you're familiar with the route of the Tour de Yorkshire, you know Shibden Wall, just outside Shibden. It's a pretty amazing climb on the parkour of the Tour de Yorkshire. So I guess if you live in Shibden, you're always a pretty good climber. It's like those riders also ride in the Home Firth Cycling Club who live at the bottom of Home Moss. So when you get out of Home Firth, you have to go a big hill. So do with Shibden, I think. So back onto the finishing straight. This little group here, just glancing over the shoulders. Got a mix of riders amongst this group. We're looking for our lead group coming round. Again, unfortunately, I don't have any indication of where we are in terms of the number of laps completed or laps to go. We will try and get better in terms of the information we receive for you during the course of the evening, but we are behind the finishing straight here in our commentary vehicle, so I'm reliant on the pictures you're seeing as well. See the scale of the descent here brings the riders back down towards the finish line. Around the corner we come. So once again, they're all back together. Judges furiously scribbling numbers down as the riders come through. And one of the mechanics there in the pits holding up 3 fingers. Is that 3 laps to go? Who knows? We'll find out soon. If we see a flag in 2 laps' time, it was. So, all too soon they're once again onto the climb. So if we are getting towards the end of the action here, we've been racing for almost approaching half an hour. So I think that 3 may well have been 3 laps to go. And if that's the case, it looks like we might be looking for a considerable bunch sprint here on the line. Someone can extricate themselves from this bunch in the closing 8 kilometres or so. It's less than that now, actually, 2.25 kilometres around this course. So it's great to see bike racing back on the roads of the United Kingdom. We were out on the Rutland to Melton Cycle Classic this weekend just gone. And that was the first round, of course, of the National Series for the women's competition. We'll be seeing the first round of the Women's Criterium Series, the British Cycling National Criterium Series gets underway here in Otley this evening, as does the men's. The women start at 7:30, the men at 8:30, but at the moment we're in the closing stages of the action here in the youth races that always mark the start of an evening here at Otley. The MS Design under 16 boys and the Milner Richards under 16 girls race. What you're watching is the action at the front of the boys race. Further down the field, riders just beginning the climb. If only that lap board had numbers on both sides, we'd be very well informed here. But as it doesn't, we're not. Back with our leading riders. I think they might have 2 laps to go when they get to the finish line this time. Apologies for the slight freezing we're seeing in our pictures. It happens on the Tour de France, it can happen in Otley as well. We are reliant upon mobile signals around the course to bring you these pictures. So the live stream brought to you by Dream Bike Giveaway. As I mentioned, we also had a Just Giving page running. We exceeded the required amount. So that page is still open, by the way. If you want to lend your support, just head over to justgiving.com and look for Let's Televise Otley. So any funds over and above the target will be used to offset the costs involved in putting on a race such as this. Of course, those costs are exacerbated this year by the COVID requirements as well. So here's our TV motorbike, and here are our riders. So through the line once again, crowd cheering them on. I think, yeah, that mechanic's counting the laps. It's 2 to go for the leading group. So 4.5 kilometres before we know who the first winner of the night is here in Otley. Once again, out of the saddle, onto the climb. And we've seen the attacks as the road just twists and turns, and then the climb begins to really bite. We'll be seeing our riders coming through our static camera position part way up the climb in just a moment. Here they are. There's a lot of looking around going on at the moment, so that's indication that attacking moves aren't fully formed yet, because put your head down and you go at this stage of the race. Right, it's the full width of the road. Meanwhile, back down on the finishing straight, another group coming through. Back on the climb with our leading riders. They've reached the top of the climb. Taking a little while to go around that corner. See the beautiful scenery that surrounds the town of Otley in the background. And Now it's back onto Birdcage Walk. Believe me, this would be a whole different proposition if we had any sort of dampness or rain, as we have had in odd years previously in Otley. In fact, I remember a very cold and damp year, I think it was 2016. And of course, the overhanging trees along Birdcage Walk, it can make the surface very, very testing indeed for the riders. There's a horse in the field there, enjoying the action. I think it's a horse. Pretty good on my equine animals, but it was maybe a donkey or a horse or something like that. But it was certainly something of that description, enjoying watching the racing. As long as it stays on that side of the fence, we'll be okay. Meanwhile, back amongst the girls' peloton. Remember, they started a minute behind the boys. If you spotted the Morris dancer walking up the side of the road there, I can tell you that Otley is famous for its Morris dancing sides. It has 5 active Morris dancing sides, which, if you're not an expert in the world of Morris dancing, unlike me, side is the collective description for a group of Morris dancers. It's amazing what you learn when you're doing your research, isn't it? So again, looking at our leading group of riders, I'm not sure how much of a result we're going to be able to confirm for you on the line. Still not seeing a feed from timing here in the commentary box. So we're just looking once again, the riders coming off Birdcage Walk. And if the mechanic giving the signals in the pits was correct, they should be getting the bell and a lap to go this time. Oh, here comes our leading group. Still a sizable group of riders here fighting this one out. Is this going to be the bell? It is indeed. 1 lap to go for the under 16 boys in the MAS Design Super Prestige race. So this is the lap where it will have to count. Any attack that goes this time will have to try and make it stick. That would be a big bunch to sprint from. There's plenty more looking around here. Just doing an assessment of who's who towards the front. Sprinters, of course, will be looking to try and get over this climb in the group. It's a bit of a rule of thumb here in Otley that if you're leading the bunch when you make that left turn with 190 metres to go onto Bondgate, then you've got a better than average chance of taking the sprint. Of course, you've got that fast descent down Gay Lane before that final swing onto the finishing straight, which will play into the favour of the sprinters. But it's looking more and more as though we will be looking at a big bunch sprint here for the line. We have got our head-on camera, which will give you a great view down the finishing straight. We've still got the final ascent of Burris Lane to be tackled yet. They're well into the climb. Looks like the pace might have slackened a little here. So is there going to be an opportunity for a sneaky move off the front? If it's going to happen, it'll be on Birdcage Walk. This is the longest continuous section of the course, just short of a kilometre. Right, it's still the full width of the road. So sweeping up 1 or 2 more back markers in the process. But you've got to think that the current National Series leader, Matthew Brennan, will be very much trying to add to his points score in the standings at the moment. Some strong competition around him though. Brennan will be in the blue and black colours of PHMAS Paul Mill Cycles. Plenty of local interests to Otley CC. Have similar colours actually, blue colours. In fact, the rider on the right of your picture there, that third wheel back, was an Otley CC rider. Of course, plenty of interest locally here in Otley of local riders. Of course, the Otley Cycling Club is the headquarters for our riders in these events, located just behind Chevron Cycles at the end of Bondgate. It's a great facility they have here in Otley. But as we come around for the final time off Birdcage Walk, it's all downhill now to the final left turn onto the finishing straight. One long line of riders. Must be 20 riders at least in that leading group. You see the little gap has opened here. It's getting the best position off this final corner. We need to be on the apex of the bend. Here we come. Oh, there's been a big crash there on the right-hand side of the road. A pile of bikes as riders come through, but on the front it looks as though 2 riders vying for this one on the line. That's going to be so close. Well, We've seen it in the Tour de France in recent days. We've seen it in Otley now. That final corner, a big bunch like that, you've absolutely got to get the line right. Just a touch of wheels and it can result in disaster. So let's hope those riders are okay. But at least 2 riders vying for victory. I wish I could tell you who they were, and as soon as I can confirm a result for you, I'll do that. Here they are on the warm down lap. And of course that crash on the corner, we've still got the girls yet to finish. They won't be too far behind, so we will need to hopefully make sure that that corner is clear before the girls come speeding down the hill. 1 or 2 tattered numbers there. The girls making their way through. Commissars just making sure that protect the scene of that crash. Riders continue to come round towards the finish line. There's another Otley jersey there on the left of your picture. Checkered flag being held out, which of course marks the traditional end of a bicycle race. Well, we never like to see crashes like that, and that was quite a high-speed pile-up. So let us collectively hope that those riders are okay. So riders continuing to complete here. Another little bunch sprinting for the line for the minor placings. As soon as we have an indication of a result, we'll confirm that for you. But at the moment, our results screen is worryingly blank. So we shall wait and see. So we had 2 races running consecutively there, the under-16 boys and the under-16 girls. So we'll be looking to try and confirm the top 3 in each for you. Looking for some great prizes on the podium when they get their presentation. That one. 1 or 2 riders yet to finish, those who've fallen a little bit behind. Well, good news that it looks like the majority of the crash victims are back on their feet. Riders still finishing here. Little sprint going on for the line. Through they go. Nice to see the sun shining here on Bondgate. Still wait for some indication of the result of both the girls and boys races. We will try and improve that situation before we come to our National Series races a little later this evening. Otherwise our powers of observation will be tried to the absolute maximum, particularly since last time we watched bike racing on the roads of the UK. Many of the teams have changed sponsor and colour. So well done to all of our riders completing the under-16 races. Looks like podium being prepared already. I'd love to be able to tell you who's going on it as winners of the boys and girls races. Rider walking down the finishing straight here. If you're wondering, by the way, if a rider can walk across the line and still be counted as finishing, well, you actually have to have your bike with you. So we've seen it once or twice. If riders are involved in a crash within sight of the finish line, they'll pick up the bike or remains of it and walk across the line with it. So you would actually be technically counted as finishing if you did that, but if you do it without the bike. I think presentation happening on the podium is for some of our very young riders who took part in some races just before the start of our coverage this evening. So spectators being allowed to cross the road here. So while we wait for some results confirmation for you, why don't I tell you a little bit about Dream Bike Giveaway and some of the wonderful prizes that you could win. We've got 3 raffles running at the moment. Let's start with the big one, which is the Willia Zero SL Disc E-Tap bike, worth £6,270. We started with 400 tickets at £20 each. We've sold well over half of them. In fact, we must be getting quite close to selling out in this one now. So if you want a chance of winning one of those wonderful bikes, you can see on the screen we've got a red and black or a grey and blue. One is medium size, one is large size. You have the choice of either, not both. That would be a great raffle, wouldn't it? You can choose your colour and your size from those permutations. So if you head to Dream Bike Giveaway website or go to the Velo29 Facebook page, you can find out how to enter the prize draw for the Villiers Zero SL Disc E-Tap bike. If a nice pair of spectacles is more your taste, then we've got some Otley Jawbreaker glasses on offer. They're worth £185. The sun is out this evening, so it's high time you got yourself some glasses. 100 tickets at £3 each to win those Otley Jawbreaker glasses. Again, all the proceeds going via Dream Bike Giveaway to the charity partners, including the Daisy Chain Project, working for autistic children up in the northeast of England, and of course your support of Dream Bike Giveaway also partly contributing to the cost of bringing you the live stream here this evening. Third and final prize you might want to try and get hold of is our Wahoo Kicker Smart Trainer, worth £1,000. 100 tickets on that one, £15 each for those tickets. And that Wahoo Kicker, that's great if you enjoy racing on a static trainer. And we bring you Zwift racing every Wednesday evening. Apart from this Wednesday evening, we're a bit busy here in Otley, but generally we bring you a Dream Bike Giveaway race on the Zwift platform every Wednesday evening at 5:30. And that would be the ideal piece of equipment if you wanted to get involved in our Zwift racing. So all of those Dream Bike Giveaway prizes, you can find the information on the Dream Bike Giveaway website at dreambikegiveaway.uk or by looking on the Velo29 Facebook page. So those are our three raffles that are running at the moment. And as I say, also going towards supporting not just the cost of putting this live stream together, but also charitable contributions to the Daisy Chain Project up there in the northeast of England. So looking down the finishing straight, sad to say I've still got no information on the result of either race we have been seeing so far. So we'll try and work on our technology here, just to give you an idea. We're in a closed box well behind the finish line, so all we can see are our TV pictures and this view down the finishing straight, which doesn't really afford us a view of the lap board. And at the moment our link to the results system doesn't appear to be producing any information of any real use to us, so do bear with us and accept my apologies that we can't confirm the results of that race for you just at the moment. But it was a great race nevertheless, that bunch coming to the line, the unfortunate crash towards the end. But I think that all the riders who were involved in that have been removed from the scene. Let's hope they are all okay. It's one of the risks, of course, in bike racing, but when you crash at a speed like that, sometimes the outcome is in doubt. And we saw a very action-packed Tour de France opening stages, haven't we, with numerous crashes. Geraint Thomas suffering a dislocated shoulder, which was relocated live on television. If you saw that moment, Geraint Thomas exclaiming, "Oh dear, that hurt," he said, as they fixed that shoulder. But good to see he's carrying on. Of course, Mark Cavendish taking his 31st stage victory. By the wonders of mobile phone technology and cameras, I have got a confirmed result for you. Matthew Brennan, well, my guess was right, wasn't it? Matthew Brennan of PHMAS Paul Milne Cycles has come out the winner of the boys race, ahead of Jed Smithson in second place for Works Factory Racing, and third place went to Sebastian Grindley of the North Cheshire Clarion. Alex Belden comes home in fourth for the Ilkley Cycling Club. In fifth place, Taylor Churchill of the home team, the Otley CC. I'll go through the top 10 for you. Sixth place was Denham Edwards of the Harrogate Nova CC. Seventh place for Peter Drabble of Works Factory Racing. In eighth was Finlay Tarling of Works Factory Racing. Ninth spot for Oliver Peace of PHMAS Paul Milne Cycles. And in 10th it was Raphael Tabiner of Innovation Racing. So that was the result of the boys, and we now have the result of the girls as well. So Ella Jameson was the rider who came home first for the Clifton CC. Well, we saw her towards the front, those red and black colours. I commented on that Clifton jersey in amongst them. So Ella Jameson, good ride for her. Kat Ferguson was second for Story Racing. Elizabeth McKinnon in third place for Derwent Side CC. Fourth went to Imogen Wolfe. We also mentioned Imogen during commentary for the Shibden Cycling Club. Fifth place for Isabel Mays of the Cleveland Wheelers. Sixth for Lucy Glover of Derwent Side CC. Seventh for Esther Wong of Cogset Papyrus Racing, and eighth place was Matilda McKibben from Team SB Hub. Ninth place, Emily Middlebrook of Otley CC, and 10th for Alice Feetham of Sports City Velo. So that's how the girls' race played out. And well done to Ella Jameson, our race winner. Good second place finish for Kat Ferguson of the team of Story Racing. And the boys race just reconfirmed the 1, 2, 3 for the boys. First, number 8, Matthew Brennan of PHMS Paul Mills Cycles. Second for number 52, Jed Smithson of Works Factory Racing. And third place, number 25, Sebastian Grinley of the North Cheshire Clarion. So that is the confirmed result of both the girls and boys under 16 races. And that 1-2, by the way, in the boys race will reflect the first and second place in the national series standing for the HSBC UK British Cycling Youth Circuit Series, with Matthew Brennan going into tonight's racing in the lead with 122 points, and he's now added more points courtesy of his race win here this evening for his licence points to take him towards the top of the youth standings. And Jed Smithson also picking up valuable points here this evening in his overall rankings. Smithson finishing in second spot. Smithson riding for the Works Factory Racing team. And third place, as we mentioned, went to Sebastian Grinley of the North Cheshire Clarion. Just looking at Sebastian's place in the National Series standings, he's 5th overall. So the riders who in the top 5 for the British Cycling Youth Circuit Series, of which of course this isn't a round, but it gives you a good indication of the form going into this one. Well, those riders, all the first 3 rides across the line here, were in the top 5 of the Youth Circuit Series. So just 1 or 2 repairs being made to the course. You can see well-known face there on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see the back of his head at the moment, but that's Johnny Clay, of course, former professional himself, man who lives not too far away here from Otley in Yorkshire. And part of the technical team to deliver the Otley cycle races here this evening. There's Johnny Clay. Had a little chat with Johnny earlier. So the next scheduled race on the circuit here, although we won't be live streaming it, will be the Chevin Cycles Classic, which is the race for the 2nd and 3rd and 4th category riders. And our 2 big races of the evening will be the Spatswer Otley Women's Grand Prix, which is the first round, as I mentioned, of the HSBC UK Women's Circuit Race Series for 2021. First of only 2 rounds of racing. As I mentioned, the second round will take place in Ilkley, and that's been confirmed in the last couple of weeks. So the Spatswer Otley Women's Grand Prix due to get underway at 7:30. You see the riders coming out onto the course here for the Chevin Cycles Classic. Always get a huge feel for this race. Been some very worthy winners of it over the years as well, the Chevin Cycles Classic. And back in 2015, Tom Pidcock came out the winner of the Chevin Cycles Classic. And of course, Tom Pidcock had an incredible start to the year he had in the Spring Classics. And Tom's family very much involved in the running of the Otley cycle races indeed. And I know Tom was offering the prize of a jersey for someone to draw from those who've contributed to our Just Giving feed for the payment of supporting this live stream. So I think we're going to leave you for a little while, and we're going to come back live just before 7:30 for the action in the Spatswer Women's Grand Prix. We'll hopefully during the downtime be able to perhaps get a better handle on getting race information to you during the course of the action. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back with more live pictures from